Awesome sauce. We are live. We are live. We are live. Oh my gosh, I did it again. I left my tea over there. Welcome everybody to Tea Time Tuesday. And I am excited to come to you this is the first interview Tea Time Tuesday. If you were on with me for Tea Time Tuesday last week, you saw me talk about the importance of setting goals and how to set your goals for the year. And if you missed that, you can go see it on the blog at basketsandbeadskenya.com. But today, for the first interview of 2021, I almost said 2021, I have my good friend John Clash, who I met at a Toastmasters conference when I was speaking. Gosh, it was about a year ago. It was like 1 year ago. It was like the end of January last year, right before all this lockdown nonsense.
Right before the craziness.
Yeah, so it was great. I got to go. It was in New York City. I was the keynote speaker. I got to do a keynote talk on negotiation. I shared some speaking techniques and things like that. It was a great day. I talked about baskets and beads, sold a lot of beads. A lot of happy people went home with beads. And my book, my book that you showed me that you have, Think Like a Negotiator. So, and most everybody on here knows, but if you're listening to me and you don't know, I am a keynote speaker and trainer on negotiation. It's something that it's my expertise. I've been a contracts manager and negotiator for a long, long time. But my passion is with my ladies in Kenya, and I'm setting up and really thinking about, I'm going to be heading to Kenya the end of February. I'm planning that trip to go see them. Ladies, I miss you so much. I can't wait to come see you. I will be doing some fundraising for that, so you can see that coming. I will make a mention, go to basketsandbeadskenya.com. Valentine's Day is coming. There's some great gift ideas there that you can find. And I may have some specials getting closer to Valentine's Day. If you're local to Southern California, don't forget to go visit Fair Trade Long Beach, where I have a lot of product there that you can shop with. We will be doing a second Saturday again in Parkview Village. And I'm happy to say that this is coming off tomorrow. I'm ready for it to come off. It's one of these things I've been really, I wouldn't say stressed out, but I've been a little anxious because I know it's coming off tomorrow, and it's more irritating that it's there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited about that. Knee's still not 100% right, but I am grateful and I have gratitude and thankful to God that it was not worse. It could have been a lot worse, and I think this is all healed up. So it's just going to I'll be able to not have to put a bag. Anyway, let's get to our guests. So I'm excited to welcome John. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am wearing one of your, we were connected on Instagram, and I saw that you had different t-shirts, and I got this one that says Jesus is my upline. And I was like, I got the Godtrepreneur one also that's like on your hat. Yeah. I have that shirt as well, but I saw this one and I was like, oh, that's great. Because as we were talking about earlier, I was in MLMs. I always share when I speak about that. That's how I got over my fear of speaking, was getting into Mary Kay Cosmetics. And then I've been in other MLMs, and I'm still in some for personal use, including Mary Kay, because Mary Kay was a great company. But tell us about how you got started in this business. What made you start to, this is just the coolest thing. And I love it. So
thank you.
Hear about that.
So I started the Godtrepreneur brand because I noticed, so first off, it just like popped in my head one day, like, oh, Godtrepreneur. I used to be a rapper. So sometimes like rhyming words always pops in my head. So like entrepreneur, Godtrepreneur, it's not something out of the ordinary for me. Words will just start rhyming in my head. And when it just popped in my head, Godtrepreneur. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I just forgot about it, right? And then it popped in my head again. And I was like, oh, wonder what that could be, and then forgot about it. And then it popped in my head again. And I was like, let me check Instagram, see if anyone has it. And somebody has a Godtrepreneur page. So I was like, I guess somebody got it already. And then driving one day, and it didn't just pop in my head. It like punched in my head. And I was like, all right, I got it. I'm going to go check. All right, I'm gonna go check. So I checked to see if the LLC, like if anyone had it trademarked or anything, and nobody had it. So I was like, give me that. So I took it. I was like, all right, God, like, what do I do with this now? And I got this feeling in me that said, how many times have you put business before me? And I'm like, every day, right? Like, if we're being honest,
Charged.
Every day. And he was like, well, now to be impossible, because we're going to start a business together. So I came up with I was like, all right, God, well, you just got to tell me what to do with this, because I don't know what am I going to do with this? It's a cool name. What do I do with it? And it was literally like, it was inspiration after inspiration after inspiration, like figuring out everything. We came out with an app as well. It started off with just hats that just had the cross on it, right? Just had that on it. And a bunch of people bought the hats. I was like, oh, cool, right? And then I was like, oh, I'll make a website. So it just molded into helping entrepreneurs remember to keep God first in everything, not just business, but in everything. And then it's kind of morphed from there into just getting people interested in God in general, and then helping people who are believers strengthen their beliefs through apologetics and through, learning the arguments for the existence of Jesus, for, the existence of God, for, just strengthening us as a whole. Because I came to Christ from a very skeptical point of view. Like I was very agnostic / atheist. I was like, look, if God exists, I don't care. Like I just did not care. And that doesn't last long when God wants you. So it just, in all of the questions that I was asking of why Jesus, like why Jesus, out of everything else, why Jesus? I asked every question that you could possibly think of. And the more that I dug into those questions, the more the truth was revealed to me. So now I use Godtrepreneur as a way to do that as well, help reveal the truth to people who have the questions. And now here we are.
You talk about how kind of that, bam, go do this. It's kind of the same thing that happened with me with Baskets and Bees. And I love speaking and training, and I still do speaking and training, and my focus really isn't there. I think I've shared, everybody knows I went and took a job so I could still put money into this, because obviously speaking dried up. I was still doing I still do here and there some online speaking, but very little over the course of the whole shutdown. And thankfully, I made the decision to go back to a job. But when in 2018, so I have some income to feed into this. In 2018, when I went on this mission trip, and I'm there and I meet these women, and they gift me with a paper bead necklace, and I'm just moved by them. And I knew I wanted to come back. And it's like the middle of the night, I woke up, buy some beads, sell them with your book when you speak. Baskets and Beads. Oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll go back to sleep. It was like, whack, get up, write this down. And it wouldn't leave me alone. It grabbed me. And I've, throughout this, it's a total walk by faith. And I know that God's in the midst of it, because just the way things have rolled and turned out. I made a commitment back in March when the shutdown first happened, because over there in Kenya, they have outdoor markets, and that's where the ladies were selling some of their things. So I would buy from them and sell them here like I do now. And then I was continuing to order, and that had to dry up. Obviously, the orders were fewer and far between because there just wasn't enough sales. But their markets over there all shut, and there's no food anywhere. They don't have any like food pantries or food programs or food stamps or any of that. And I made a commitment. I'm like, okay, let's walk by faith in this. I'm just going to test and just believe that there's going to be enough money come in every month for them to have $800 to $1,000 worth of food packs. So since March, we have been feeding over 30 women and 80 kids regularly. The money's just come in. People just, I want to donate. I want to donate. I want to donate. And to sit back, because I just let it go by faith, and to sit back and be, wow, okay, this is happening again. And then that little doubt wants to come in. Nope, you decide to turn it over and walk by faith on that. So I think you just need to do that. And every month it's been coming in. By the way, as I'm talking about this, we are still doing food packs. So if you want to donate, basketsandbeadskenya.org is where to go to donate. You can go there, and there's a food pack program, because we're still collecting funds to make sure. They're starting to open back up over there, but it's going to take some time to get them back to the level they were before we started. But like I said, it was a total walk by faith thing, and it's just shown up every single month for them. So I've been really happy.
That's what happens when it's God's idea, and not ours.
Right.
We think like, oh yeah, I had this idea. It's like, no, no, we didn't. Like God was like, hey.
Well, the thing that I felt for me when I knew I had to go back to a job, and I felt a lot of shame. I went through this whole deal around that back in October 2019, and I'm crying, and and because 2016 I left because I thought that I was being called to leave so I could build a speaking business, and it never really took hold. I got paid to speak some, but it never really took hold. And then last year at Christmas, so I went through this whole crying, and I was on the floor crying out to God, and I'm like, I need a job. Okay, find me something close to my house. And sure enough, it was 15 miles away, but obviously now I've been working from home in the house, doing contracts, negotiation, and management. But I went away I went up north where my son lives. He lives when I say Northern California, almost to Oregon. So he lives up there. And I went and spent Christmas there last year. I was supposed to do it this year. Obviously couldn't because of my injury. That's a whole nother story. I wanted to go, but I didn't. But I was up there just spending some alone time, and I was just kind of in prayer, and it was kind of like, it just was impressed on my spirit. Yes, I called you to leave that job. If you wouldn't have left that job, you wouldn't have been able to go to Kenya for me to call you to do this work.
Yeah. I'm telling you, when you get to where he's bringing you, and then you take a look back and you see all the dots that you thought were like stumbling blocks, you know what I mean? Like you see all the dots connect, and you're just like, did I do any of this? Like, you know what I mean? It's phenomenal. And I know what you mean. I think nobody's a real entrepreneur until they have come to the situation where things have like really messed up, and they're like, oh crap, I got to get a job real quick. Like it's you do what you got to do to keep the mission going. Like you just do, and God provides.
Yeah, and I know for it. I know it's like, I just look on it from here, looking back. I'm like, whoa, okay, what? Wait a minute, because I didn't know that the pandemic was coming and speaking was going to shut off. God knew and provided for me. And there's so many people I know who are struggling right now, and I'm so grateful that I was able to be able to provide, but I'm dumping most of my salary into this to make sure that this goes. And, there's a lot of infrastructure that goes behind that kind of thing. And I know, I call them God's beads. I know it's going to go. I don't know how, I don't know when. I like to think that I'm going to work that out, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. He's the one painting on the canvas. We just see our little tiny paint strip.
So what gave you the idea for this particular shirt?
That one. So, I'm still in multi-level marketing, network marketing. That I love it. I love building teams. I love traveling. I love providing people with services and products that they love. I truly love it, and I also love the adversity that comes with it, because that's an industry that the world looks at as like bad. Meanwhile, it's like all these other regular businesses are shutting down, and network marketing is on the rise because it's something you can do from home, right? It's been telling people for years. You're finally getting it now, But the whole Jesus is my upline thing it came from like just you get advice from your upline, right? And there's some advice that I got from my upline, and I'm just like, I love the dude, appreciate him, but I'm like, that's not in alignment with God, you know. Like I can't take that advice. And then you talk to somebody else, and then something else, that some woo woo stuff, that I'm not going to participate in, And then finally, I was just like, you know what? I don't need uplines. Jesus is my upline, and that's where that one came from. Just by my personal experience, and I love my uplines, but there's just certain things that I won't participate in because I'm walking with Christ. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up to him, and he's the furthest up, and he was the best network marketer ever. He'd just say, "You follow me," boom. Now billions of people, 2,000 years later, got the biggest downline ever. Like imagine what those residuals look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm in several for personal use. Fitness, not fitness, but health products, shakes, whatever, and Mary Kay and all that. And I was working. I've worked Mary Kay. I started to develop a team and stuff, and it was hard to do in the military because I kept moving around. It's like, okay, and then if you go overseas, you have to get out of Mary Kay US and get into Mary Kay whatever country you're in, and then when you come back, you have to get out of that and back in. It was crazy, but
and the military is difficult with network marketing. I had a huge team in the Marine one day. I don't know what you call them, like staff sergeant or something. He came in, was like, "You guys either all quit this or you're out of the or you're out." The whole entire team gone.
Wow. Yeah. Well, some of that. So there's I'm sure the other branches are the same. In the Air Force, it's like there's this. You can't be like selling to people lower rank than you, because there's things that come in with favoritism, and people feel pressured and all this kind of stuff. And there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. Actually, I was working at Los Angeles Air Force Base as a contractor, and somebody brought something in, a catalog or something, and somebody tattled, and then the commander was like, "I don't want to see anything like that ever here, ever, ever, ever. Don't anybody talk anything like that. Don't bring anything like that." So it was like that stopped everything. So it's over the years, it's made it kind of a challenge, kind of difficult. But I guess when I came back from the UK, I was starting to build a pretty good team, and then I ended up deploying after 9/11, and then that went by the wayside again.
Yeah. You meet some amazing people though, and that's what introduced me to like personal development and changing your mindset and like not wallowing in negativity and pity and like, why my life so bad, and like it really opened me up. It actually brought me to God, because I met people who believed in God, and I was like, oh wow, these people are pretty cool. It changed my life completely. I have people who've quit my team years ago who still, when they talk to me, like, yo, that changed my life. Like now they're regular business owners, or they got their own things going on, or they've moved up because now they're doing personal development. They've moved up in levels at their job, promotion and stuff like that. It's crazy what can happen when you start working on yourself.
Yeah, and some of the things that I learned from Mary Kay, I teach actually the question. I don't know if you remember that I shared the question: is there any reason you can't? Mm-hmm. As a negotiation strategy, I learned that in Mary Kay. Yeah. And mindset things, what you think about, you bring about. Your mindset is your greatest asset. Those are things that I learned in Mary Kay many, many years ago. Yep. And they've stuck with me for all these years. And it's great things to kind of keep you, because there's, when stuff goes on, you can get in a pity party and woe was me. And I mean, I couldn't go anywhere at Christmas because my knee. I was like, I was attempting to work out. Okay, I can get in the car. No, I can't drive that far. I can't drive with this. Let me see. No, I'm not going to go on a plane. That's not, I could go on a train, but then I have to get all the luggage. I was attempting to work it all out and make myself okay with going somewhere, and I didn't. And I stayed home, and I was like, but I had to shift into this. Why I chose the words grace and gratitude for 2021, because I wanted to make sure that every day I had to look around and what I'm grateful for, and then have grace for other people.
Yeah. And it's like I always tell people, you got to extend the grace like that God's giving you. You know, we mess up with him every day. And if somebody gets you aggravated, somebody upsets you, people are going to be people. You can't take anything personally, and just, you know, give them grace. Give them grace. You don't got to keep people around you that are messing up your life, but, you know, have grace. Don't hold grudges. Like, let people are going to be people. Like, I don't understand, whenever we put our expectations on people, like we put our expectations on them to be here, and then they don't live up to them, and then they're mad, and then we're mad at them for not living up to these expectations that we have for them. And then we forget that we don't even live up to our own expectations, you know?
Exactly. Well, my pastor he preached a message once about having grace for people, and he said extra grace required, EGR, which, you know, it's an acronym. So EGR. And I talked about this actually last on Swahili Sunday when I was talking about choosing my words for 2021. And I write up over here, it's a sign that says be kind. Because I'm very direct. I guess maybe it's my military background, and I can be very direct and short, and I have to have grace for other people and be kind. And I have to remember that I have extra grace required for them, but also I can be an EGR too, where I do something stupid or my mouth goes off the wrong direction, and I have to apologize for that, or I have to seek forgiveness for something that I did. We're all human. I love how people dig up something. Oh, this person did this way back here, and we found this thing, so that means they're a horrible person.
Twitter from 2002 or something. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
I don't even know if Twitter was out in 2002.
I don't know. But they'll find something that somebody said in 2002 or 1999 or whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, who are they today?
Yeah. My stepmother says all the time, she's an incredible woman. She says, I would hate to be judged by my worst day, you know, and I refuse to judge people by their worst day. And that's something that sticks with me, you know, it really sticks with me. She's a civil rights attorney, and she's done some cases in, you know, defending people who are in jail, you know, and from getting mistreated by the correctional officers and stuff. And it's like you know, she's seen some crazy stuff, but she's also seen a lot of redemption and people changing and they're becoming better people. And so it's true. I wouldn't want to be held to my worst day, because I could probably pile a couple of them on top of each other, you know. I'm
certainly not.
I'm sure I got a few to come too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just it. We're humans here. We're fallible, and we make mistakes. And I mean, obviously people do egregious stuff or whatever, but people that, you know, you can't be like, oh, you're horrible or whatever. So you have to look at, man, why are they acting that way, or what's going on in their life, or how can I have grace for that person?
Yep.
And obviously there's the last strategy in my book that says you can't negotiate with crazy. That's a whole different kind of situation. I'm not talking about those kind of people, but we all just going through life or having our own experiences. Something rough happens, something bad. I mean, this whole deal like upset me. I was not very pleasant to be around, because I couldn't walk and I couldn't do anything and I couldn't go anywhere, and I had a little pity party.
Yeah,
I had asked forgiveness.
As long as the pity parties are short parties, you know, like it's got to be a short party, short little pity party, and let's get moving.
Hey, I had a friend that said, oh, okay, you want to have a pity party? Okay, let's set the date and time. Come over, and we'll set how long we're going to have the pity party for. Are we going to do it an hour, 2 hours? How long we're going to do it? Then we're going to have it. We're going to whinge about everything. We're going to cry and complain and get it all out. And then when the party's done, that's all done, and you're going to move on. I thought, oh, that's a good idea.
I like that a lot. I'm stealing that. I'm 100% stealing that. All right, cool. Let's set this up. Let's set a Zoom.
Yeah, here, let me see. Let me pull out my calendar. All right, so next Monday at 6 o'clock, I have open for your pity party.
Yeah,
and she was serious. She was like, I'll come over. We're going to really whine about it. We'll eat junk food, whatever you want to do. We'll do whatever, and we'll just have a pity party. We're going to have a party. It's going to be a pity party. So I thought that was a pretty interesting take on it.
I'm stealing it 100%.
Yeah. Hey, it works. I mean, I when she said that, I just pictured doing that, and I thought,
you could have brought your tea. It could have been on a Tuesday.
I know. Could have been Tea Time Tuesday pity party.
Yep, pity party edition.
Pity party edition. Yeah. That's funny. So you recently moved.
Yes, I just moved to beautiful Puerto Rico. I am so excited to not experience winter anymore.
Yes, yeah. So have you lived in New York your whole life before that, or?
Mostly my whole life. I spent a couple years in Florida, and that was my first taste of not having to deal with winter. And I was like, well, I left it for a little bit, and I'm like, I'm going to come back to this. And my fiance is Puerto Rican, and she's been wanting to move to Puerto Rico. And once this pandemic hit and everything, we were like, yep, let's pull the trigger. And so here we are, living in Puerto Rico. I've only been here like 3 weeks already.
Yeah. I've seen some pictures. It looks just beautiful there.
Yeah, I love it. The people here are really cool. It's helping me work on my Spanish. So that's something that I really want, because when I go to Guatemala, I want to talk to the kids. So being out here, it's funny now. I can understand what people are saying. It's difficult for me to respond, but I'm learning more of the conversation now. And the people are cool. The food is obviously phenomenal. The neighborhood that I moved into, I live in San Juan. There's like everything's in walking distance. Like I don't even have to drive anywhere. I mean, it's on lockdown anyway. So where am I going to go? But it's just, I love it. It's a whole different feeling living here. New York is like every time I'm in New York, it's like, I feel like this. Out here, I'm like, It's like a relaxed hustle out here, because I always work really hard. It's like it's like a relaxed hustle. At the end of the day, I don't feel like tired. The only problem is there's no bacon, egg, and cheeses out here, and there is the pizza. The best you're gonna get is Papa John's. So.
Oh, that's. I have a friend who lived in San Diego, California, her entire life, and just moved to upstate New York.
Oh man.
She's got pictures of the snow. I just shoveled the snow off my patio, and I'm like,
she'll be back soon. She'll be back in San Diego soon enough. Once the pandemic's over, she'll be back.
She's got a beautiful place right on a lake. It's nice.
There are some really gorgeous places. People think New York is just the city. New York is a huge place. The city's only like that much of New York. New York has upstate New York is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, like the Catskills and all, absolutely gorgeous. Some beautiful. I'm a view person. I love views, and there are some amazing views in upstate New York.
But she's got a place right on a lake, and I'm sure once the snow clears, it's going to be. She has this video of her clearing a path to the mailbox and all this kind of stuff. I'm like,
I've lived that for my whole life. I'm done with it. I'm so done with it.
Yeah.
It's cool when you're a kid and you get to miss school from it, but now the kids are being homeschooled anyway. So they don't even get to miss school for snow days.
Right. Yeah.
They'll probably never have actual snow days ever again, because now teachers know they could just Zoom their kids if they're at home. So
yeah, snow day on Zoom.
Yeah.
So what other products do you have? You have t-shirts, you have hats.
Yep. We have an app as well, and that's pretty much it. It's really just a resource for people to grow in their faith. I didn't even want like the whole shirts and hats and stuff like that. Like that was not on my mind when I started doing this. Like I made the first hats just as like I'll make some hats, like little promotion or whatever. And then so many people bought them. I was like, oh crap, I got to make more hats, And then I had the t-shirt ideas it started with just Godtrepreneur. And then somebody like said, oh, have faith. And I was like, oh, I could turn that into a shirt. And now I'm about to release something else. It's molded into it. I had no idea that it was going to be this exciting to do this stuff.
Yeah, and your website's scrolling across godtrepreneur.faith. You can go there and find some really cool shirts. Yeah. And yeah, so and my necklace goes nicely with this shirt. So
it looks good. So we do have things, I want to do in the future, like speaking events and like workshops for Christian entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But that's going to be after Corona,
Right. Yeah.
Also, like I want to do some apologetic conferences, have speakers come in that can discuss like the history of Christ and the arguments for the worldview that we have, and in comparison to other worldviews, and why ours stands out over everything else. It's that stuff is so interesting, and I feel that when you learn that, it equips you for your faith. It gives you, for example, right? My fiance was deep into the woo-woo stuff, like deep into it. We were friends for like 3 years before we decided to start dating. And so she was deep in it. And when we started, having feelings for each other and stuff like that, she had all these questions of like, well, why this in the Bible? Well, why that? And why would God do this? And what about the evil in the world? And she had all these questions. Had I not went through my period of studying the, all of these questions and getting them answered, I wouldn't have been able to answer these questions for her. And now she's like a die-hard believer, like, oh no, Jesus, and I think about everybody who comes to Christ, to me, is a soul saved. It's your eternity is now secure. And like, she's a powerful woman. She's a public speaker as well, does amazing in our company. And she's now getting other people to believe in Christ. And I'm like, man, thank God I went through that period of time where I was searching for all those answers. So I want to equip other people to have answers for people, because sometimes it's as simple as one question they need answered correctly, and they'll become a believer. And it's all about planting the seed and let God water it. But if you don't got the seed to plant.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Sunday message from my pastor, and he was talking about just being more, really being connected and being in the Word instead of being everywhere else, because there's so many things to distract us. Mm-hmm. And I had started to take and I've said this several times in the past, that I've taken mostly a news. I did start taking a news hiatus right before the whole Supreme Court hearings and going through the election and all that. I mean, not to say that I didn't even know what was going on at the Capitol, because I was working until somebody texted me. I was like, oh. So I looked to just make sure, I got to see what's going on, but there's so much nastiness. I don't want to be involved in the middle of that. So I just look in order to, okay, do I need to, what do I need? All right, that's going on. Okay. That's all I need to know.
To know what's going on, it's dangerous when you feed into it, when you let it run your life, and also if you allow the media to shape your mind. I saw a meme the other day. It said, "Do you watch the news?" And the response was, "I watch my news." You know, the news that even the Facebook algorithms know what to send you. You know,
Right. Yeah, definitely, because they see what you're going to. I mean, I like clothing or whatever, and all these clothes things will pop up. Or, you know, one of the dreams I have for my house is to remodel my bathroom, and it's interesting that all these bathroom remodel things show up. I'm like, yeah, okay, not today.
You say it one time, and Google hears you, and they're like, "Well, send
Yeah,
it to me." You know, it's crazy.
it is crazy. But the thing is to be not sucked in by that, because there's all of our advertising is saying you have to have more, you have to have it now, you have to have, and I keep going through and cleaning stuff out. As a matter of fact, I've got this. I had this bright idea. Shannon's going to love this one with comments sold when she hears about this idea. I had started using comments sold to do selling baskets and beads, where it's an online app where you can, oh, I have this, put 100 sold, blah blah blah. And then this happened, and so my whole Christmas online sale thing went down the tubes. But I'm like, I have a lot of nice designer stuff, and I'm going through and cleaning stuff out, and I'm going to use it as a fundraiser to raise money for going to Kenya. So I'm going to be doing I don't know, a comment sold, clearing out my things that can bless somebody else, but also using that money to help in Kenya. That's a great idea I came up with today. It hit me.
It's also what you do in Kenya. I have actually a woman on my team who is from Kenya, and she's coming to Guatemala with us to build the school. So it's really cool. She's bringing her daughter too and stuff. So it's like it's just incredible what you're doing out there.
Oh yeah.
She tells me about Kenya all the time, of like, you know, how it is out there, and her growing up out there is the reason why she wants to go to Guatemala to build this school. She also wants to be more involved with going back to Kenya to help and stuff like that. So it's really cool what you're doing.
Oh, well, you know, God tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, I want you to do this. I'm like, okay. Because if somebody would have told me a few years ago, you're going to be in Kenya.
Yeah, definitely, buddy. Yeah, okay. All
like
right.
That. You know, somebody asked me one time, well, somebody, you know, there's people have things to say. So one person was like, well, I prefer to do stuff here. I'm like, well, I do stuff here with veterans, but, you know, you can't really, like, really, I could have chosen somewhere closer that didn't have bugs and malaria and things like that, you know, and it didn't take 24 hours to get there. But I didn't choose. It was chosen for me. And I just said yes. And it's so in my heart. I'm just so passionate about helping the ladies. They're wonderful. They're just wonderful. I just love them. And they're so talented. I mean, this is beads that they just like.
Yeah. It's incredibly intricate.
Yeah, they're doing this sitting in a little mud hut on their little couch, and they're just making this stuff. And this is the way these are made, and the same with those up there. It's like a PVC piece of plastic that they wrap around. So they get it on a string. I've watched somebody do this. They get it on a string. I haven't seen how they do this part, but this is all rows and rows of beads that they get on the string, and they wrap it around tight, and it's tight. It's tight all the way up. The quality is outstanding. Yeah. And then how they do this to make all the different colors. It's just incredible to me. And then, you know, those kind of things. And then the beads made of paper, and it's just amazing how detailed and intricate and how beautiful all these things are that they make. And I just want everybody to have one. Yeah. So I think everybody needs to have one of these shirts too.
Definitely think that as well. I think they need to have both. It's like a combination.
Well, yeah, because you see, this is a black one, and it goes so well with this, and it pops. I think probably this Sunday on my Swahili Sunday show or whatever, I'm going to do actually a little segment on looking good online, how you can have a little piece of looking good online, Yeah.
It's important to have good lighting, good clothing, and a smile.
Yeah.
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 And good Wi-Fi, definitely.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wi-Fi is important. That can sometimes be a problem in Kenya.
Yeah. In Guatemala, we all rush to one room to grab the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
So how many are you going with a group and you're building a school?
Yeah. So every year we build something called bottle schools, right? And bottle schools work like this. They take the community themselves, go around and they collect all the garbage that's just in the streets, in the mountains and stuff like that. They collect bottles like this. And then they also collect the trash. And what they do is they stuff the non-biodegradable material in here. Like, we're not putting banana peels in here and stuff, but like wrapping and stuff like that. So they stuff it in here. And then they use this as insulation in the walls, right?
Oh, wow.
And it saves the schools thousands of dollars on insulation because it uses this. And the community's involved in building the school. So, we're not like it's not like the gringos show up, build a school, and leave. No, the community participates in it. We hire local contractors to do it as well. And so what the trip is it's not like we go build the school. What the trip is for is to bring awareness, to fundraise, to get the schools built, and also to show the communities that we're supporting them, and the kids over there love it, like that, and the adults too. Like, it's incredible. When I went out there my first time, this was the first time I went, I was like straight off the streets, like I was still in that like negative, crazy mindset of like, living in the hood, and like my mind was crazy. And I went out there and I saw how happy these kids were with nothing, and how they just enjoyed your company. They just wanted to play with you, and they just wanted to hang out with you, right? When I came back, I took a look around. I was like, this is different. I can't. So I came back with a whole new perspective on life. And I told the guys, I was like, look, when I hit this certain rank in my company, I'm going to come back and lead a trip out here. Because I was a guest on the first one, right? Took me 3 years to hit that rank. But the second I did, I gave them a call. And I was like, because I also knew if I didn't hit that rank, I wouldn't be able to afford to keep going back, But, so I did it. And I was like, look, I'm going to lead a trip out here. Led the first trip, had such an incredible time leading it. We led another trip. It's the first one we had 10 people. You're supposed to have a minimum of 15, but they let me slide. They let me slide. So we did the trip with 10 people. Then the next one, we sold it out the next year. Then the next one, we sold it out the next year. Now this year, during Corona, we have 2 trips going, not just one, 2 trips. So people come on the trip, and I've watched it change people's lives. Not you go out there thinking you're going to change these kids' lives. That's not what happens. They change you as a person. There was one of the last ceremonies, right? We were just playing games with the kids. The last day we play games, and they do a goodbye ceremony for us. They do their traditional Mayan dance and stuff like that. Really cool. The kids are adorable, right? So I'm just sitting there watching these kids play, and all of a sudden the kid just comes and sits on my lap, and like just sitting there, we're chilling, just watching the game, not saying anything to each other, just sitting there watching the game. And I think about the community that they have is so beautiful that like if somebody's child just came and sat on my lap in America, I'd be on the news.
Oh,
yeah, it would be. I'd be phones. I'd be, my name would be ruined because a child sat on my lap, right? Like out there, the community, they raise the kids together. It's such a, you go out there and you say, oh yeah, they're poor. You don't ever say these people are poor. they are rich in all of the things that we are lacking here in America.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the community, in love, in religion, in just being connected with their culture and loving the simple things in life, you know. And the kids out there are excited to go to school because they don't have they know that if they at least get to 7th grade, they're a step ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, and kids here, like, we don't want to go to school. We think it's cool when you flunk, you know, like it's so backwards.
So backwards. Is just what I was about to say. And going to Kenya did the same thing to me. And when I came back, I was angry about here because we're so gluttonous and we have so much and we just throw things away and people are just, you know, they want more and more and more. When I went there and they had, you know, to what our eyes are used to, they have nothing in where I go, you know. It's like, but they were singing and they were joyous and they were happy. And I made a point to learn. Now they're Turkana, they're from the Turkana tribe. So people speak Swahili and English unless there's a tribal language. So they speak Turkana. And I learned some of their songs. And I sing their songs and I know what they mean because my director over there, Layla's written it out and told me this is the words and this is what it means. So there's like 2 or 3 songs that I know that they start singing and I sing with them. And somebody was like, I watched you were singing that song. I said, yeah, I made it a point to learn what the words were and what they mean. Yeah. And they, like the second time I went, because it took a minute for them to trust me. At first they were like, oh yeah, we've heard all this before. You know, you're going to go back and forget about us. And I didn't. And so I ordered a second time and ordered a third time. And when I came back in July, I placed a really big order. And I walked up to the original 5 that we had started with. And the one lady, Patricia, who the paper beads are named after, it's called the Patricia Collection. She looks me up and down. No, she turns around and walks off. And I thought, okay, what'd I do? Tied a tribal blanket around me, put some beads, said, if you're going to be with us, you have to look like us.
I love it.
Now I have my, you know, I got out of the military. Now I have my uniform for Kenya. And, you know, I'll dance with them and sing with them. And and all the kids I have kids that hold my hand or some will sit on me or whatever. I'll have like 5 kids on each side hold my hands. And it's just so much love and so much joy. And we need more of that here.
Yeah, we definitely do. It's funny when you said that I'm gonna come back and they didn't believe you and stuff like that. I made the same commitment. I think about, because I'm not the only one who goes on these trips. There's different groups that go all the time. And, you know, I know that these kids get promised like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to come back all the time. Right. So when I made the promise, like, oh no, I'm going to come back. Now we go to different areas to go build schools. We're not going back to build the same school every year.
Right.
But Hug It Forward, which is the company that, you know, I partner with, they make it a point to help us, you know, get to the other schools that we've built. And it's a pain in the butt, like to do that for us and everything. But, you know, I didn't want to be the group of people who say they're going to come back and doesn't come back. I'm not trying. These kids have enough broken promises.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be another one. So there's this one little girl, Jessica, you know, I've been watching her grow up now since she was like this, really short, right? Like, I don't even know how old she was when I first met her. She's 10 now. She'll be 11 when I see her again. I'm hoping I get to see her again this year. I don't know if we're going to be going from village to village to village just because of the coronavirus. But like the last time I saw her, she's turned into a woman, you know, like she's grown. And my fiance and I, we plan on getting married in Guatemala.
Oh, how cool.
So our plan is to have Jessica come to the wedding.
Oh,
so it's like when you like embed yourself in these communities, it's like it changes you. You have to commit. You can't be one of these, I call them like picture volunteers, like they volunteer for the picture. And
Right. Yeah.
you can't do
That's known as a volunteer.
it.
I
Yeah.
actually, the first time I went to Kenya, I'd never heard that term before. And somebody said, well, wouldn't you rather do blah, blah, blah instead of going on a volunteer? And I'm like, what's a volunteer? And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, well, I don't think that's what I'm doing, because we went there and actually did things, and they've been going there for 20 years. So it's not like, even though we took supplies and we visited with people and we shared stories and things like that. I mean, I'm doing something, because I went there, I got called to do what I'm doing now. And,
Yep.
that's it. This is it for me. This is where I'm called to serve. I'm serving there, and I know God's going to work it out. And it's, I, in my finite mind, I'm like, it's not going anywhere fast enough. Why isn't it? And all things in His time. And I have to remember that and be patient with that, and just keep walking by faith, and knowing that He's got it.
Yep. Whenever things are not moving as fast as I want them to, which is every day,
Exactly.
I just say, all right, cool. It's because I got to grow. It's because I have to grow more. I have to become ready. I think about the things that I wanted, like that I have right now, right? Like living in Puerto Rico, balcony overlooking the whole city. Like, this is something that I've always wanted. Something like this. I thought it was going to be in Miami, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think about the woman that I'm with. I think about, the business that I'm running, all of this. And I'm like, if all of this stuff would have came to me when I really wanted it the first time, I would have ruined it.
Oh yeah.
So thank God I went through some tough times to build my character to be able to handle this stuff now. If you're not growing, you're dying. And
exactly. Yeah.
And He's got to work on your patience. Like He's got to work on your patience, because you got to be patient with the process, because you're going to be working with people that you need to be patient with as well. And if you don't know what it's like then you're not going to be able to have the grace. What is it? The extra grace?
Extra grace required. EGR.
Yeah, the EGR. Yeah, the EGR.
EGR. Well, we could probably talk all night, but I just enjoyed this very much. And again, so tell everybody where they can go so they can get themselves a shirt or a hat.
So Godtrepreneur.faith. Also, if you're just on my Instagram at jclash, JCLASH, and I got a link tree there that can just link you to anything that I'm involved in. I'm always doing something else that's getting added to the link tree. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's how I saw this. I saw the shirt on your Instagram, and I was like, ooh, I gotta have that. So
I appreciate the support so much. Thank you. A portion of everything that we make, I send to compassion.com to sponsor the kids out there.
So, yeah, I sponsor a couple of kids through Compassion.
Yeah,
I love what they're doing. 2 kids from Haiti. I had one in Colombia, and she moved to another location, but so I'm just got the 2 kids in Haiti, and then all the ladies and their kids in Kenya that I'm working with. So, all right. So, thanks so much for coming on. Do you have any final words you'd like to leave us with?
I just want to say I'm grateful that you even reached out to me to be on here. I after watching you speak, I was like, I like that one, and I'm glad that we connected on social media and we were able to do this. And if I could leave anything for anybody listening, is that Jesus is who He says He is. So
yeah, He is. He's my upline.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, until I see you again next week. Swahili Sunday this Sunday, May I'm going to see if I can get Layla on to share how things are going over there. We have some things going on over there. I think things are starting to open up, and that's why I'm planning on my trip. So join me for Swahili Sunday. Visit basketsandbeadskenya.com and find yourself a nice gift for somebody for Valentine's Day. I'm adding more things. These aren't up there yet, so I'm going to be adding these and some of these necklaces because those are new. They aren't on the website just yet, so I'll be adding those so you can get those for Valentine's Day. So until next time, see everybody soon. Naku Penda.